Hey everyone, Dave here at Dave Talks About Stuff, and today we're going to do sourdough pizza dough. Right now I'm just getting my starter measured out, and we're going to mix all the ingredients in just a moment. And as I go through this process today, what I want to do is show you how to make a sourdough pizza dough, but also there's a couple of pro tips I think I might be able to offer that will help you along if you want to do something like thin crust versus medium crust versus thick crust. I did one time I just came across a situation where I made a mistake and it turned out to be a huge benefit and gave me the opportunity to figure out one thing I could change when I do the recipe if I wanted to make thin crust, thick crust, medium crust, whatever. So I'm going to share that with you when we get that far. But right now, let's just get the sourdough starter mixed into the water. That is our current step. And soon we'll be adding in all the other ingredients, the flour, the salt, and the sugar. So let's start with the flour. In this case, I'm using Caputo 00 flour. Any brand of 00 flour will do. I just have been experimenting with different brands, and I found that Caputo is one of the best for pizza dough. So I will put the link for Caputo flour down below in the description for you. Right now we're just mixing it all in together. We still have the salt and the sugar to add, but first we're just going to get the dough mixed up with just the flour, the levain, and the water, and then we'll get the rest put in from there. Alright, I went ahead and sped up the video for you so you don't have to watch 5 minutes of me mixing the dough together like this. I should be done with this part in a sec. Alright, looks like we're about done, and now what we're going to do is just add the salt in, and there's a couple ways to do this. In this particular video, saved some of the water so I could spill it over the salt on top of the dough and just have a tiny little bit easier time just mixing the salt, the remaining water, and the dough together. And I'm just going to go ahead and speed up the video here. It's just me mixing the salt into the dough mix, and we'll get the sugar in there in just a few seconds when this part's done. And in fact, now that I think about it, I had already mixed in the sugar. It was either in the flour or in the salt mix. I do that sometimes, so it's already done. And now in this part, I've covered the dough, and what I'm doing is starting my stretch and fold phase, and I'm going to do up to 4 of these. So right now, I'm just grabbing a corner, and I'm pulling it up. Cupping my hand, it's hard to see, but I'm cupping my hand and I'm stretching it, and then I'm folding it over into the center. And I do this somewhere between 6 to 8 times per stretch and fold session. So this one is stretch and fold number 1, and we're going to do numbers 2 through 4 in just a few secs. And what I'll do is I'll speed up the video so that it is, just much faster to get through. Because as you can see here, it's just me doing the exact same thing. The dough is looking a little tighter, a little better. The gluten's been developing, and we're just rolling through. I think we're on number 3 now. And then soon we'll do the 4th stretch and fold, and then we'll be done with this phase. So right now I'm just going to finish that up, and the dough is really starting to take shape and look really good. It's nice and smooth, it's got a good texture, and it's ready. And now we've let the dough sit on the counter, bulk fermenting, in this case for about an hour. With pizza dough, it doesn't need to sit there as long as it would with, say, a sourdough bread loaf. Pizza is a little bit different. So what I'm doing right now is I'm sprinkling semolina flour on the countertop and a little bit on the scale, and I'll show you why in a minute. With semolina flour, one thing I've learned is there's store-bought semolina, which just says semolina flour, and then there is semolina flour that is Semonlina Rimacinata. And I found from multiple pizza bakers, including some YouTube pizza bakers out there, they actually made it a point to specify Rimacinata. So with semolina flour, the reason I'm using it is it's a nice coarse flour, but it's not like coarse like cornmeal, and I don't want cornmeal. I don't like cornmeal on my pizza dough. So the semolina works really great for this. It prevents stickiness. It helps the dough slide along, particularly when you're using pizza shovels. It's what you want. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm splitting the dough into two halves because this recipe makes two pizzas at about 12 inches if you're doing thin crust. Figure 10 inches if you're doing medium crust, and 9 to 10 if you're doing thick, depending on exactly how you do it, like a Napolitana or something. So right now I'm just getting the measurements exactly right. I'm a little bit OCD about that sometimes, so I'm just looking for the exact even weight between the two. And it looks like I've just about got it now, and we're ready. I'm finally ready to move on. So what I'm going to do next with these two halves is I'm going to put them into the shape of balls. And as you see, I'm kind of curling them over into a center bottom where I'm just rolling it down on top of itself and getting it into that ball shape, so that when I ferment the dough and I'm ready to work with the pizza to actually make a pizza out of it, it's already in a ball shape. It makes it much easier to go round and flatten out in a circle. So I'm just getting the first one done right now, and I'm about to move on to getting the second one done, and we'll be done with getting the balls shaped and ready to go in just a few more seconds. And I guess this one's taking me a little bit longer, but if you saw, there were a few spots on this one. It had some air bubbles in it, and that is a great sign. It means you're getting a lot of good gassy fermentation in the dough already, and it's only been a couple hours. So what I'm doing right now is I have two containers. They're both actually lined with a dab of olive oil. It keeps the dough from sticking to them. And I usually also put a little bit of dab, a few drops right on top of the dough itself. That's just in case the use a plastic wrap or the dough rises up to the lid. You just don't want it sticking to the lid or the plastic wrap. All right. Now, I fermented the dough in the fridge overnight. I've also brought it back out to the countertop, and I bulk proofed it on the countertop for about 5 hours. And here's the pro tip on this. What I found, quite by accident, was I let the dough proof on the countertop a little too long one time, and then I turned it into a pizza anyway, and I found that it stretched super easy when I did that, and gave me a real easy time making a New York thin crust style pizza out of it, which is my preference. I'm from the tri-state area, so New York pizza is kind of my thing. So right now you just see me doing various techniques. Sometimes I flip a little bit, sometimes I just stretch it out like that on the counter. I do a spin stretch a little bit. I'm just working on various stretching techniques to see what ultimately I'm going to be the best at. And you see me kind of just pulling it, but I can assure you it stretches super easy, and it's going thin crust really easy right now. Okay, so we've just about got it ready to go and properly sized. This, as a thin crust, it'll do about a 12-inch pizza. If you don't bulk ferment as long, say 3 hours instead of 5 hours when you put it on the countertop, you're going to get a medium crust or even a thick crust, depending on exactly your situation and how long you proof it for. I prefer thin crust, so I go for longer so I can, have a nice stretch out of it, which we're about ready with. And what you saw me just do right there was I was popping the bubbles on the crust part of it, and I do that because it stops, what happens is those bubbles become burns when you bake. So I was just preventing it from burning on the crust like that. I actually don't mind it, but a lot of people do, so I figure I'll just pop it and just explain why I do that. So right now I'm just cheating by using a piece of parchment paper. I'm a little lazy. I'm just getting it onto the parchment paper on top of my pizza shovel. I'm pulling out, it's actually store-bought. I had some extra marinara sauce from Rao's, and Raos, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But it's the best store-bought sauce you can find, and it's just about everywhere. So if you don't want to make sauce, I suggest that brand. It's a good one. If you make your own sauce, even better. I'm not that good at sauce making yet, so I'm not doing it right now, but I'll probably figure that out, and then I'll post some videos on that too, and then we'll have some sauce making videos. Alright, so I'm spreading the sauce with a spoon on the dough. I don't go all the way up to the edge. It's up to you. Different people tell you different things. But I like to leave just a little bit of dough crust there, like maybe half an inch, a centimeter. It depends on just how good I am that day. And just get a good spread on the sauce. And this is just about almost on it. And soon we're going to get the cheese ready. And the cheese actually is whole milk mozzarella. I prefer it. It gives it a more, I don't know, I just like the flavor profile from it better than part skim. But you can use part skim. You can mix part skim with whole milk. You can put other cheeses in. But I'm just going with the whole milk mozzarella on this one, and I'm just trying to get it mixed all around the pizza. And I already know, I've done this pizza recipe before, so I know it's going to come up with a great result. And as soon as I get the cheese on there, we're going to throw it in my electric pizza oven. The pizza oven's somewhere else, so I'm not going to show what that looked like. I'm just going to show you the end result here. And as you can see, the pizza turned out really great. It was super delicious. Thin crust, very easy. And I'm just going to slice it up, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then we're going to eat it. And I'll show you a couple slices in a few seconds here once I get them sliced up and ready for you. And do me one favor, this video is about over, and if you like this kind of content, if you want to see more of it, please do me a huge favor, hit the like button, definitely subscribe, and hit the bell too, and it'll notify you when I have new videos coming out. Alright, well, this pizza is just about ready for me to eat, and my mouth is already watering, so we're going to call it for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.